lines we live within. Like a black sunrise, reality takes shape and form and fills the sky. Some questions will fade, these will remain. Are you gonna fall behind? Do you feel these holes in your life? Looking around to see everybody racing towards the end with me. Maybe slit my wrist and let love wrap itself around my fingertips. Some questions will fade, these will remain. Are you gonna fall behind? Do you feel these holes in your life? Do you feel these holes in your life? I know you lay tired, pools of tears don't fade out. It's almost here, the final hour. Are you gonna fall behind? Do you gonna feel these holes in your life? Are you gonna fall behind? Do you feel these holes in your life? Are you gonna fall behind? Do you feel these holes in your life? Creeping around the bend, death illuminates the lines we live within.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready.
Something's cooking.
The biggest moment of the year.
I've been waiting, wish I was watching you in the daylight. A perfect view, this is always a favorite of mine. Said I don't wanna go it means I'd have to throw this element of mine inside. What if I don't wanna be the lonely one? The truth I know is this: I don't wanna miss you more than I already do. I've been screaming my lungs out, 'cause I'm wishing you were here with me now. I'm impatient, I apologize a million times, but I'm human and I'm selfish. Got the feeling I should deal with this, but I'm hiding and no one knows.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Christina with the Gray State Truth, and I'm here today with Louise.
Hi.
And we're waiting on a few more people to hop in. We're hoping they can hop in today. We did have a roundtable that we were supposed to do on Global Watchman News, but we were now stood up for the second time. And so we will not be taking any more requests when it comes from that channel to, speak about the truth and the evidence and the facts, because it's just a waste of our time to try to sit and put all of this stuff together and get everybody together for people to bail without a word said. It's pretty immature and childish, and we don't have time for it. I have kids. I know everybody else has a life, and To do something like that is just kind of ridiculous. But anyways, I'll move past that. Because I'm pretty
Oh dear.
upset that I put my trust in someone, and I know that you guys have been through a lot with dealing with people, and here I am. I brought her on thinking, she wanted the truth out there, and so I feel
There's
like
a
the
lot of
crappy
people that
person.
just like drama. They like drama and they try and play people off against one another. And it's pathetic, really, when you claim to be about wanting truth,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't know the truth if it jumped up and bit your face off.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. If you want the truth, then you're gonna let it get out there, regardless of whose toes you think you're stepping on. Someone that's put up several lies on their channel regarding Judy's phone call, and it being this big unreleased thing when it had been up on her channel for 2 years. And
Well,
to
they're all frightened of the truth, aren't they?
Yeah,
Like that's the strange thing. Why do you not want to hear? If we're so easy to discredit, why does everybody go run into the shadows?
exactly, exactly. And I think that's what it is it started off as, oh, we're going to prove them wrong, but what the hell do we have to prove them wrong? We don't have anything. They're giving us the
Exactly.
evidence. So it is what it is, and we'll just continue to do what we're doing, and we don't plan on putting anything out there that the injustice group is putting out, and it doesn't fit their narrative, and so that's why they're not interested.
Yeah.
So, anyways, well, the plan is today is to discuss the phone call, and I was hoping I could get Judy on before.
I think she's going to join in a second.
Okay, awesome. Because I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it because I know it's hard for Judy to talk about some things, but as far as her and what she's been through these past 7 years, and I want to give her some kind of outlet. It may not be, the biggest
Well,
outlet there is, but
we can ask her some of the questions that we know people put forth
definitely.
who, and hopefully it will be giving people the common sense that they struggle to grasp as to why she may have said certain things.
Yeah,
Hopefully, it'll bring a bit of closure and that little bit of insight. When you get
absolutely.
swept away with all of this rubbish, you
Absolutely.
forget some of the simple things that actually do make sense. People need to sort of try and stop and think, well, it's easy to sit here with no experience of ever finding like three dead bodies of the complete family wiped out right next door to you, and then be sat there on a pedestal saying, well, I would do this and I would do that, when you don't know what you would do. You
Yeah,
just simply don't know how you would react.
exactly. And there's no right way to act. You know what I mean? There's no
Yeah,
certain way to act when you see that, and I've seen comments of, oh, well, how did she see all that through a window? It was a big ass window, and they were not that far from the window. So, it's just dumb comments that, and a lot of it is because they've only heard Injustice's theory. They haven't listen to the phone call, or they nitpick on every little thing, or they take
yeah,
the Greg's narrative or Kathy's narrative. So it's, instead of doing the research themselves and looking at the call or listening to the call themselves, it's just a matter of them looking at someone else's narrative. So,
yeah.
but
Judy's going to be in a minute.
okay, well, we'll just sit here and hang out.
Yeah,
So I was gonna talk about the piece of material that was on the back porch as well with Judy, because she knows, she was right next door. So I think we
yeah,
discussed that in the group. And then also just some of the findings, like item 57, which is so controversial. we talked about it in the past, but I kind of wanted to start at the beginning and then work our way further into the case as we go along, which was the plan on Global Watchman, but and I plan on that continuing being the plan of it all, so that way it's kind of in an order.
Yes.
Yeah. So, hope everybody has a good holidays. We have Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas coming up, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah. We don't do Thanksgiving in the UK.
Ah. Well, we do it here, and we eat a lot, and then we sleep. That's about it. My kids, all they talk about is deviled eggs. So they want deviled eggs.
Right. I haven't had them for a long time.
Oh, they're so awesome. It's one of my favorites. So what are you planning on doing for Christmas?
I'm not sure yet. I'm just starting to get the old notebook out and draw down my plan.
Oh, I never do it. I'm last minute. I do everything last minute, so.
Now, I've been there, I've done that, got the t-shirt and hate it. So I try and get as organized as I can. I leave some bits to the last minute, but then I start getting in a panic.
Yeah. I'm trying to get some of it done early, but well, I don't know what to talk about until until Judy gets on
She's
here.
just having a little bit of a technical hitch. She won't be a moment.
Oh. My kids are like going nuts in the background. I got my son Connect Sports for his birthday, and so they're in there like jumping around and stuff.
As long as they're happy.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
My best friend, she just moved back from California to Indiana. She had cancer. Well, she still has cancer. She's going through chemo, and she was sending me pictures of my best friend's, her cousin's headstone that I had put in. So I'm just looking at those. But all right, is Judy here?
I'm here.
Oh,
yay!
Cool. Yay!
We got there, Judy.
All right, Judy. So we're going.
I didn't find that link on the fax page, though.
Which link?
No, it was in the chat.
Oh, okay.
The other ones so that you can just watch it.
Okay.
Chat thing.
Sorry.
It's okay.
All right. So we're gonna listen to the call, if that's okay with you, Judy, and then.
Sure.
Again, if there's anything that you don't want to talk about, just, tell me to shut up.
There's nothing that I won't talk about. I just won't look at the pictures of the bodies.
Right, understandable. Okay, so we're going to listen to the call, and then we'll get Judy's intake after, so that way she can kind of explain, her feelings and what she's been through in the past, 7 years with all the nonsense and stuff. So let's take a listen. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear it because we've had this issue. Me and Lois had this issue the other day with the prophecy video. So we'll see. Hold on.
Yes, this is Judy Prochnow, and I live at 1055 Ramsdale Drive.
Yes.
I think there's been a murder or suicide next door.
What's going on?
Well, we've noticed that they haven't been around, so, and there were Christmas presents on the stoop, so I went over there, and there's a dog in the house, and there's definitely somebody
can't
in the
hear it.
room.
Oh, okay.
Very faint.
Just a minute. Do you know what their address is?
Is it low?
Well,
It's
I'm
really
saying
low,
55,
yeah.
and they would be to the west of me,
Okay, the house, so,
like 1050 or whatever.
okay, so if I'm facing and looking at your house, Judy?
Yeah, I think
would it
we're
be
gonna
to
have the
my
same
right or the
issue.
left?
I'll
If
let
you're
you guys
facing
know when
my
it's
house, it
over
would be
with.
your right.
Okay.
Sorry.
What are you seeing in there?
It just looks like there's a pile of bodies, and one, like the head is eaten off,
Oh, no.
I suppose by the dog, and my husband thought they were dummies, but the hands look real, and they would have been there since before Christmas.
Okay, and so you haven't seen...
And all their Christmas lights are still on in the house.
You're
And
so
my
sweet.
husband said he saw a gun.
On the floor?
Yeah.
Okay. Stay on the line with me just a minute, please.
It'd be a husband, wife, and child.
Stay on the line with me, ma'am. I'll get some people rolling over there. You saw Christmas presents?
Colin, I'm calling 911.
You saw presents inside the home too?
There's presents on the front step, and they've been there since before Christmas.
4933, are you available?
And there's definite. I just peeked in the front window, and it's gross. Colin, what's their address? 1051 Ramsdale Drive.
Okay,
Don't look in the window, Lorraine.
1051 Ramsdale Drive. Okay.
Right.
And you said that...
Lorraine, don't look in there. No.
So it looks
Don't
like
look in there.
it looks like multiple bodies inside.
Yes.
And it looks like the dog may have been...
Yes.
Okay. You saw the gun on the floor there?
Yes, my husband saw it. He's not here right now. He's talking to the other neighbor. We hadn't seen any movement over there. We just thought they were gone for Christmas, and we came back from Florida this week, and we still hadn't seen, and the presents were still there, so my husband went over there to check.
Okay. They thought they were gone for Christmas, haven't seen any movement.
So there hasn't been anything movement there since before Christmas. They haven't shoveled. Excuse me, I think I have to throw up.
Okay, yeah, okay, ma'am. I won't keep you any longer, okay, Judy?
Okay, thank
I appreciate the call. I got help coming, okay?
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
All right. So I don't know what questions to ask because I don't want to I don't want to get into that stuff. Louise, maybe you would be able to ask the right questions because I just don't want to go out of bounds. I don't want to pull up any feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How about, Judy, would you explain leading up to that day, what had been going on? What was it that made you and Colin think?
Well,
you know,
we went to Florida in the beginning of January. And when we were on our way to the airport, we saw some gifts on their steps. And when we came back about 4 or 5 days later, we didn't notice them because we didn't look for them. And then Colin was out shoveling snow, and he heard polio. And then he came back, told me he had heard polio over there, and we thought they were still gone. And I said, that's weird. I said, go see if the gifts are still on the steps. And he went over there, he stacked them up. he rang the doorbell a couple times. And when they didn't answer, something just told him to look in the window. And he looked in, he thought he saw a big mess that the dog had made, like tearing up cushions or something. And then he saw dummies. What he saw was dummies. And the reason he said dummies is because when you
No.
see a head or hands. Well, he came back and told me, and I went over there to look, and he went to Lorraine's to see if she knew if they had gone somewhere. When I looked in, I saw David. And I stood and watched him, looked at him for a while, and then it dawned on me that he had no face. He had just the back part of his skull and his vertebrae. Then it dawned on me, it was David. And then I saw a hand, which I thought at the time was Renaya's. And I saw that and it just kind of freaked me out. So I ran home and I called 911.
Did you phone from your home phone or cell phone? Because I know that people
I
got
called
confused.
from my home phone.
And Colin
Colin
was calling from his cell phone.
No, Colin was at Lorraine's.
Right.
So when he called in, he used his cell phone.
Yeah. No, that's because I know that people at times have been confused about how you're both making phone calls, but obviously I know because we've spent a lot of time talking over the years, so I already know, but a lot of people out there don't know. And when Colin was out clearing the snow, to me, I can already understand the answer, but were there any footprints in the snow going to or from the house?
Well, he was doing mostly the sidewalk in front of the house and then just the sides of the driveway.
Yeah.
And so there were steps on the sidewalk out front.
Yeah, but there weren't any going to the house or anything that looked like there was activity.
Not that you could see, no.
Yeah. Because to me that would, it answers the question itself. If you, even subconsciously, if there were footprints in the snow going up and down to the doorway, you would assume that they were in and they were about and everything was okay. It was just that these parcels hadn't been seen.
The first footsteps leading up to the house were Colin's.
Yeah.
He went to check on the gifts. And then he came to our house and he walked through the snow to our house. And then when he went back, he walked through their front yard to Lorraine's.
Yeah.
But there were also footprints leading to the window from both of us.
Yeah. And then as Lorraine came over and then the police came round, obviously the footsteps increased.
No, Colin was at Lorraine's and he asked if she knew if they had gone to Texas or something because no one had seen them. And they discussed it. So then Lorraine said that she would call them because she had their cell phone handy. So she called them and got the answer or the message.
Yeah.
And then they decided to call the police from there.
Yeah, right.
Lorraine didn't go over there until I was like midpoint through my phone call.
Yeah.
And she started walking over there to look in the window and I told her not to because I knew she wouldn't want to see what was in there.
Yeah. because I know the first time that I saw that picture, obviously, you know, it's a picture. You saw the real thing. But when I first saw that picture, my brain couldn't register what I was seeing. I
Right.
remember thinking that looks familiar, but I don't know what the oh my you know. And I had to. It was late at night, and I had to watch like a Disney film or something because it really, you know, when my brain realized what I was seeing, I felt awful, and I wish
Mhm.
that I could unsee it. So God only knows what it was like for you to see that life size and real time through the
One
window.
one thing that's never brought up is I wasn't there for very long, standing in front of that window looking in, whereas everybody else knew that there would be bodies in the picture and knew and
Yeah,
had time to stare at them. Also, I was looking at them from a different angle.
yeah,
I was looking north, whereas they were looking south when they saw the pictures.
yeah, yeah. So you were a lot closer
Mm-hmm.
to David. I know another thing that people question or don't understand is how you could see in. But do you want to talk a little bit about the height difference on the inside as to the outside of the house and the overhang as well that goes around the front of the house that would protect the presence to a degree from the weather?
Okay. What was the first part of that question?
Just about the height difference from when you stood
Okay.
outside as to being inside the
When
house.
you're on the sidewalk leading up to their house, you cannot see the floor
No,
as some people think you should. And you
yeah,
can't see it from the steps either. The
no,
only way you can see it is from looking in the window. And I believe the window came up to my chest.
yeah. And you have to there's probably like glare as well on the glass from the
I
garden
can't
like
tell
that.
you, I can't remember.
No, and the other thing was just about the overhang of the roof.
Oh, this neighborhood, the ranch style homes all have a overhang um, to protect the front step. So the gifts were more or less under the overhang. So
Yeah,
they wouldn't have got wet. You know, they would have got blown around, but they weren't wet and soggy like some people think they should be.
yeah. That's great. I don't want to dwell on all of that. I think you've explained enough over the years. Is there anything else that you feel you need to clarify regarding your phone call? Um,
I would just like to ask everyone who has critiqued it, when they looked in the window, what did they see and what was their reaction?
yeah,
Every
I
single
mean,
one who sits behind a computer screen and critiques that call, I'd like to know their reaction.
yeah, I think it's a fair point. Um, and you know, I know a lot of people um, don't seem to take seriously this idea of like the thinking that they were mannequins. Yet there's hundreds of newspaper reports of when people have been unfortunate enough to discover bodies and they've thought that they were mannequins. So I don't personally understand why people have such an issue with that because it is documented throughout history so many times that people were stumbling because you're stumbling along, you're not expecting to see what you're about to see, and so your brain is telling you that, oh, it's probably a mannequin. And I've heard it in reverse as well, of them finding some people, they do find a mannequin, but also they find bodies and they think that they're mannequins. It's your brain. It just does not want to think.
Well, I mean, not
Right.
only that, because, they knew that David was doing this film and, they didn't know what props he had. And, like you said, they could
Exactly.
have thought it was, stuff that he was using in a movie or whatever and
Yeah.
just left it there to make it look like they were
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what would an unchewed mannequin look like? Like your brain would be thinking that the dog's just, have
And there's a reason why I said that it looked like the dog had ate it. And
yeah,
that's because, the back of the skull was there and there were like flaps of skin
yeah,
left.
yeah,
So something had happened to his face, and the dog was the first thing I thought of.
yeah. And I'm guessing, I mean, I'm in the UK where guns aren't such a big thing, but you guys are, hunting and guns and things is sort of part of life in the States. So you would have more knowledge of what a gunshot wound looks like, and that you saw goes beyond
Beyond
just,
a gunshot, yes.
yeah,
I mean, in that, and if you're looking at something like that and you're trying to process it yourself, and someone's asking you, explain to me what you see, well, you see a gun next to his hand. So you're thinking, okay, well, he shot himself, so suicide, and then
I
there's two other dead people, so you have murder suicide. So it's not, it's not wrong to think that way. Your brain's trying to process all of this at once. You have this, in front of you. So it's completely understandable, and I don't understand why people would even be questioning that.
I
yeah,
didn't see the gun. Colin told me about the gun.
Okay, well, I
So
mean,
then
but you
when
knew
I
about that.
saw when I saw the bodies and I thought, if there's a gun on the floor, what else could it be?
Yeah.
I knew
yeah,
they didn't die of food poisoning.
exactly. And the house hadn't burnt down. The dog's
Right?
still alive, so there's not like a gas leak or anything.
And the dog was angry. Some people have said the dog could not have attacked the window, but those somebodies weren't there. And he did attack the window because he scared the bejeebies out of me.
I know when I was young, my next door neighbours, they had a boxer dog and they had a little puppy. And some of the kids on the street, they knew about the puppy and they wanted to go and see it, and they'd been to see it before. But this one day, my neighbours were out and these kids were like knocking at the door and peering at the window. The next thing, the adult boxer jumped through the glass front door.
Oh, wow.
So dogs. He wasn't being angry in the sense of he didn't want to attack anyone, but he was overexcited and
Right.
jumping up, and so yeah,
He was
you know,
panicked.
yeah, yeah. And I know when I've knocked at people's doors or had to walk past the window and you don't know that there's a dog in there, the dogs always come bounding up to the window because they're protecting their territory.
Yeah.
But
So
when you see a dog, practically jump in your feet,
mm,
in your face with his teeth bared, you think of
yeah,
angry.
yeah, definitely. And the poor little thing, he had every right to be angry and scared and confused and
Hmm.
wondering what the heck was going on. And so yeah, I can completely understand angry because he's suffered and he's also protecting what's left of his owners and everything else. He's been in this situation for like 4 weeks now,
Yeah.
and now there's people at the front window, you know, he's a dog. There's no
Right.
guaranteed written handbook for dogs telling you how to behave in
Right.
that set of circumstances. So again, I can see it being totally reasonable for him to be reacting that way. And I feel for you being on the receiving end of him launching at the window like that, because not only have you had the fright of seeing what you've just seen, you've then got the fright of the dog launching at the window.
Correct.
I mean, I couldn't imagine. I don't know. I mean, I know that definitely had to be hard to deal with. And I couldn't even imagine myself in that situation. So to be critiqued about so many different things, I think it's just ridiculous. And it's people that have no moral compass, that they wouldn't even know what to do in that situation, but yet they have their opinions, and it's just pretty disgusting. So
I agree. You've got the realization of, those three people who you've seen out and about, getting on with things, happy, laughing. I know
Yeah.
you have fond memories of Ronnie. I don't want to go into it because I don't want to upset you. And then to see that scene and the realization that that family is now that tragedy on the floor, and knowing that they've got family, they're loved and they're cared about, and that people's lives are going to change forever when they get the phone call.
Right. It was the thought of Rania, or Rania, laying there that bothered me the most.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
because she's the Crowley I knew the best.
Yeah.
I didn't know David and Kamel, except for in passing, saying hello or something.
Mm.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, that's just hard enough seeing that, but then adding a child into that situation and just
I mean, how do you? My grandchildren used to play with her, and how do you explain to them that she's not there anymore? We told them she moved away because
yeah.
we didn't want to tell them the truth,
Yeah.
because they were young. They were 5 and 3.
Yeah, that's understandable. Definitely. Oh man.
So we're down to the strip of whatever on the duck.
Yes. What do you think about that?
Well, when I see it, I think of a shirt or t-shirt or some kind of black material that he used to carry around.
Right. Because I
You
mean,
being
you live
paleo.
next door, so you were able to see the dog and see what he did, and I mean, not paying attention, but just in
Right.
passing, and it looks like this piece of material was there obviously for before it even snowed, because you have a piece that was moved over by a shoe or whatever, but it's you can tell it'd been sitting in the snow, or sitting before the snow started. Because if not, snow would be underneath of it, I would assume. But irregardless, I mean, I don't see where, you know, or what the discussion would be about that. I mean, they had a dog, they had kids, and I know for a fact that my kids and my animals bring just odd stuff to the doorstep all the time. So, I mean, I've had just weird stuff pop up, and I mean, to put that up like, hey, that's
It's clutching at straws, isn't it?
yeah,
We can't find anything else. So I know there's that little bit of like part of a tug toy or a t-shirt or something. We'll use that.
yeah.
What are they saying it is?
They didn't. I think the discussion was let me find it.
Isn't the discussion going to be all about that bit that's going to be the next thing.
Yeah. Like they want to somebody I guess somebody had messaged Kathy about the discussion should be about that and what they think it is or how it played into, everything that happened. I'm like, well, if you nitpick and say that every little thing in or around that house had something to do with the scene itself, I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, you can't say, oh, well, this piece of paper that was sitting out here on the side of the house for a year, has anything to do with this case at all. And I
Right.
think that's what they're doing is just we've called them out on everything else. The footprint's been called out, even though we've had people say it was a kindergarten art project. We've had people say that it was a child's footprint, and that's all been debunked. Everything has been debunked, whether it was, by facts, the evidence. It's they're just throwing wet noodles against the wall now to see what sticks.
Right. They need something new to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just think regarding whatever that black thing is we can't tell from the photos, but I'm sure that when the police were there, they were able to go, oh, that's part of a dog toy or blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
But they were obviously could identify it and go, yeah, that's not anything that is part of a
Yeah, it's not
crime
significant to the
scene.
case.
No, if it was like a latex glove or something, then that would be
Right.
potentially suspicious. But it might not be because it might have been that they'd done some work on the car, or David had written about doing like corking up the house and stuff. So if it was like a latex glove, it could have been something of their own. But you would still then expect that to be taken in for evidence for testing. But it's just a piece of rag and a small
Right.
piece at that.
That's what I think it is a piece of that shirt or whatever it was that he used to carry around.
Yeah. I thought it looked like, well, before I seen like the closer up image, I thought it looked like a piece of rope because you know how they had the rope in the backyard that they did their exercises with. Like there's pictures of Kamel holding the side of two ropes and
Yeah, that was in the house though.
Okay.
Yeah, it was winter.
Oh, okay.
We weren't doing it in winter.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, did a piece of rope fall off? But and then when I got to look at it more, I was like, oh, well, that looks like one of them, like a Velcro strap type thing. So
yeah, it could have been that too.
I think that there's a picture somewhere of Paleo, and he's got like a ball in his mouth, but it's got like some black, almost like felty pieces, hanging out of the ball, like if you had a ball with a hole in it and it had like threads of cloth coming out of it.
Yeah.
And he was stood with this stuff hanging out the side of his mouth. It could be some of that. Dogs are destructive with their toys, a lot of dogs, and he was still quite juvenile. I don't think he'd reached full sort of maturity in the dog ages. So I think he was probably like 1 or 18 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, I want to talk about the statute, like as far as the 911 audio goes on the call, because the call belongs to you because you're in it, and I mean, you basically have the rights for who uses it and who doesn't.
Well, they said that I signed to have the transcript released, and that's not true because the transcript is public. I signed to get the audio of it because I wanted to post it so I actually hear it instead of listening to what people were saying about it.
Right.
That I was reading from a transcript, which when you think about it, they were reading from a transcript.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
go ahead.
the audio actually belongs to me and the city or state, whatever government
Yeah.
that's in charge of that.
Right.
Because
when-
you were involved and it's got your details and your personal things. You're the only person that can apply to get that audio. Therefore, it belongs to you.
Yes,
Your
same with,
your copy is yours.
yes.
And
And I had-
just because you've made it public doesn't mean that it is now for public for anyone to use. You are well within your rights to file a copyright claim on anyone that uses that, and you would, you would be backed.
I don't mind, if they use it. What bothers me is they don't use it honestly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, if
Yeah.
they would use it in the right way and not critique it and
Well, they use it just to critique it
Yeah.
and
Try and
attack me.
discredit it.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, somebody's ringing.
That's me. It'll go to answer phone.
All right. So I want to kind of keep the call within or this live within, each topic. And so we talked about the call today, and Judy has expressed her feelings and how she felt, and we listened to the call. And so I want to kind of keep this live just about the call, and then
Okay.
the next live will move into like the actual scene itself. Do not plan on posting any pictures of bodies on this channel because I just think that's wrong to do. Things that were within the crime scene, the bullets and items and things like that, yes, but I think it's very disrespectful to put the pictures of them up when the family has asked so many times for people not to do that. And so that you're not going to find that on this channel. But anyways, I guess that's all, unless you guys have anything else to add to this today, or if you guys want to talk about anything else today.
Or if anyone has questions.
Let's
I'm
see.
just trying to think of any, if I can think of any questions that I know have come up. I mean, I don't think that you were leading anything. I just think you were being asked questions and you were just telling them what you were seeing.
That always made me laugh, that they think that I led the narrative. Like the police and the BCA and the medical examiner is going to listen to a 62-year-old grandma telling them what happened.
Yeah.
It's
And by
ridiculous.
then only the operator had heard you say that. Like when
Correct.
the cops got on scene, they go by what they see, not by what they've heard. They know this
Right.
is
Yes.
going on in the house. And so
And that's actually a really good point,
Yeah.
because when you listen to the 911 dispatch, they don't once say they think the neighbour has rang in thinking there's a murder suicide. They say 3 bodies on the floor, gun in the house, dog in the house. They don't mention anything when they're relaying this 911 call information to the officers and what have you. They don't say anything about a murder suicide.
Yeah.
I don't have as much influence as they seem to think I do.
Well, I mean, it's bizarre, really, because what you saw what you were asked, what you answered, you were right.
Right.
The police saw it for themselves with the investigation. The medical examiner came to the same conclusion that there were gunshots and apparent animal scavenging. So why you've become public enemy number one is beyond me. I think for some people, I think it's jealousy because you were spot on and they're not.
Yeah.
I hope not. It seems kind of sick.
It does, but you know, after all of these years, that's sort of that's kind of one thing that's guaranteed when you're dealing with a lot of people
Yeah.
who look at this is that they are kind of quite sick in their thought process and their bitterness and judgmentalness.
Like, why am I involved? Why do I involve myself? And then in the next day, they'll have a video up about me.
Exactly. Yeah. Questioning everything that you've said, everything that you've done, questioning your family. And they expect you to not say anything. And I think a lot of that is their frustration that you've come out and said stuff because they've done everything that they can to try to limit you from being heard. So when you've then found ways of being heard and people do listen and people do go back to them with their own lot of questions saying, well, I heard that 911 call or I messaged with Judy and
You know, I wonder what the reaction of people would be if they had not, let's say, that group have led the narrative. What would people think if they didn't have Greg and them telling them what to think? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
they would probably just be either undecided or think, well, yeah, it happened the way that it happened. It's the same kind of scenario of going, if this happened to Joe Bloggs on the street who didn't have a concept trailer for a dystopian film idea, would they be thinking that Joe Bloggs down the street had been set up, bumped off by the government or anything else? Or would they think that's one sick man who, you know, was caught up in a tragedy and it's a shame that he didn't get the help that he desperately needed?
Yeah.
And did an awful thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it they run off of the narrative of the film, but they don't really listen to the things that David himself said about the film or the conspiracy theorists that, you know, how he felt about that.
Yeah.
So
I agree. It's like going backwards what Judy was saying about how people sort of, what would they think? It's the same with how people don't like what Judy thinks, but they also don't like what the families think and what the friends think, and anybody who had any interaction with David, Kamel, and Ronnie, who are all
they're all liars.
Yeah.
Or incompetent.
Yeah. But if the shoe was on the other foot and something was going on with their family, they would think that they know best because they know their family. But for some reason, that same logic doesn't apply for the Crowleys.
Yeah.
And the Alams. It's like, well, they can't know. They don't know. They haven't got it in them to be questioning these things. I mean, if David and Kamel's family thought for 1 minute something else had happened, they would fight to the ends of the earth to get justice.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
They wouldn't stay silent, even, and I would go so far as to say, even if it put their